All right, what do you think? We should start. All right, so here we go.
Do they hear?
Are we recording? All right,
Everyone.
thank you. So welcome and thank you for joining the League of Women Voters of Butte County, this candidate forum for the Oroville City Council, Districts A and F. And apparently Eric Smith is running unopposed, so he doesn't need to join us tonight. And also the second part of this will be for the position of mayor. So we wish we could include the treasurer position, but one of the candidates chose not to participate. So we will not be doing the treasurer tonight. I'm Carol Burr and have been a member of the league for a long time. And we're one of 700 chapters and our organization is 102 years old. So the main thing that we concentrate on is that we do not endorse parties or candidates, but we are wholehearted in believing that forums like this where you get to talk directly to your constituents is a valuable part of our democracy. Now, the work you have to do, I looked up your job description, and those of you on the city council are busy. You are protecting the public, you're formulating land use policies, you're approving business building projects, you're acting as legislative and policy making bodies of the city government. You're also looking into the city's goals, projects, and infrastructure improvements ranging from community growth to land use, and there's a lot of that going on. So thank you for running for office, and thank you in advance for maintaining a civil discourse while we hear from you. And just, we are not doing a debate, we're just doing questions and answers. You will each have a minute for opening, and a minute for closing, and a minute to answer each of the questions they were asking. And we do have a timekeeper, Tim McNulty, who will hold up a paddle to let you know when your time is getting close to ending. We have just done the order randomly, but what I have done is to pair you so that those of you in District A, which we know to be Tracy and Art. So your questions will be always back to back so that people can from your district can hear from you together. And that'll be the same for District F, Natalie and Shawn. All right, so we're going to begin with our opening statement. Art Hatley, you will be our first speaker.
Thank you. Well, good evening. I'm Art Hatley. I'm a retired Oroville Police Department detective. I'm currently on the city council, and I've lived in District A for 30 years. My children and grandchildren were raised and educated in Thermalito and the Oroville school system. I'm proud to say that my daughter is a registered nurse. My son and my two grandchildren, his children, are current and active law enforcement officers. So just like everyone, public safety and quality of life are my top priorities. I had the privilege of working for the Oroville Police Department for my entire 26-year career. After I retired, I felt the need to continue on to serve the people of this community, and that's why I'm running for another term. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And also from District A, Tracy Johnstone.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having me here tonight. I appreciate all of you coming, or all of you joining us so that we can have a conversation about why we're running for city council. My reason for running for city council is because I too have raised a family here. I've raised 7 children and I have 6 grandchildren growing up in the community. My youngest son is a senior in high school at LP. So I'm finding that I have more time now to be able to spend on larger aspects of the community. I've sat on many boards throughout the school districts, ranging from early Head Start education policy council. I was a chairperson for the policy council. I sat on the Las Plumas PTSA as a treasurer. So I held many different governing positions, just not at the city level. Now that I have more time to focus on that as my children are raised, I'd like to be a part of that.
Thank you. Thank you. And now from District F, Natalie Sheard.
Hi, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Natalie and I'm new to Oroville. I discovered it because we went to Tong Fong Lo's. My brother and sister-in-law took us there, and we just love independent, unique, one-off little restaurants. We've spent a lot of our life as entrepreneur business owners in the construction and retail industries. So anyway, driving through Oroville, we fell in love with the historic district and the beautiful homes and how close that is with this wonderful mixed-use downtown district. And then as soon as we moved in, we kind of turned our whole life around to come here to be a part of this community. And when we moved in, I'm only 2 blocks away from City Hall. So I went down there and found out, how can I get involved? And they told me they had an opening on the Planning Commission. So I'm serving on the Planning Commission, which is the de facto Historic Advisory Committee. And we also take turns on the Development Review Committee. And I absolutely love being a part of helping this town flourish. I've been married for 40 years, have 3 children and 12 grandchildren.
Thank you.
And I'm really looking forward to serving the residents of this district.
Thank you. All right. And also from District F, Shawn Weber.
Hello, good evening, and thank you. I'm excited to be here as well, and I appreciate the opportunity to get my voice heard. Longtime Oroville resident, 35 years. My wife and I have raised our family here, my wife of 25 years. We've got 5 beautiful children. 2 are grown, 2 are in Oroville High School, and we have 1 over at Nelson Avenue Middle School. We are business owners and homeowners. We live in beautiful downtown District F, and we absolutely love it. I echo the sentiments of Natalie. We love it down here. And the reason why I would like to serve is because I grew up here and I've seen the forward momentum the last few years, and I really appreciate it. I really appreciate what's happening in Oroville, and I want to be a forward-thinking participant in the future and growth of our town. Our children were raised here.
Can you see? I'm sorry. Wait, that little stop thing up there is something that you're going to need to keep track of. So I
didn't see it.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't see it either.
You don't see it. Oh.
I don't see it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my apologies.
So my apologies. If I had seen it,
I will stop you myself if you can't see the stop sign. Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Yes. Thank you all. All right for your.
It might help if people who weren't speaking muted their phone or their lines. Because that might change the precedent.
Thank you. That's probably a good idea. It's just that the 1 minute turnaround means you're going to have to keep an eye on it so that you're live. Okay. All right. So question 1 is, if elected, what is your top priority for your district? And we'll start with Art Hatley.
Thank you. My top priority is going to be public safety. We need to ensure that our people are safe, our children are safe, they have a safe environment in which to grow and flourish. I've been fortunate that my children and grandchildren have experienced that. And I want to continue on with that level, that everyone can go to town and be safe and feel safe when they're buying gas or in the store or just in the parks.
Thank you. Do you want to say some more about how you plan to do that?
Well, we need to build up our police department. Our police department is lacking right now. We have quite a few openings, and it's nothing that is really a fault of anyone other than just things happen. Your money and just the way that the society looks at police now, sometimes people aren't wanting to get into that profession, and we need to change that attitude.
Thank you very much. Okay, Tracy.
Thank you. I too take public safety as a top priority. I believe that we do need to build up our law enforcement, our police department. I believe that we need leaders put in the police department that have integrity and they have character. And then that trickles down into hiring men of character, women of character that really want to stand for the safety of our families, our children, our community. We need to make sure that the homeless are, taken care of in ways that we can help them flourish as well, and that we can provide a safe place for them to go to obtain mental health. So I believe public safety and mental health issues for the homeless are probably my two top. I know you asked for my top, but those would be my two top.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Natalie?
Hi, yes, absolutely echo that. Without public safety, we don't have a city. The most important thing that the city owes to the residents is that they can be safe in their homes, around their homes, without living in fear. I talked to a lot of residents who live downtown here. They don't report crimes anymore because nothing happens. They are afraid. I've had people tell me, well, when I come out my front door, I just don't look that direction where the drug dealer lives or where this house lives, where these people party all night. I just had a woman tell me that she called the other night, called the police because there was so much noise and commotion going on right where she lives, which is just one street over, and there was a shooting. And that they don't know who did it. They don't know what happened. It's unacceptable. It needs to be fixed. I tend to look at it as an entrepreneur. If you're running a business and you can't provide the very most important component of your business, you can't run your business. So there's no excuses here. We need, yes, like it's been said, a more robust police department. Oh, is that my stop?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah. John,
I see it now.
at least here. Yes, so this is, if elected, your top priority for your district.
Well, I've talked to a lot of folks downtown, and safety, safety, safety. That is the number one thing that I'm hearing. And when I say safety, I'm talking about safety for all. And I'm talking about from the lowest earning citizens all the way up to the citizens that live in the most expensive homes in the district. I think it's very important that personal protection safety is going to be paramount to my my council seat, and also personal property protection. So, it's no secret that we have an issue down here with a homeless issue, with a crime, with open drug use, open needles and stuff like that. So I am absolutely focused on making sure our parks are safe, that they're not vandalized, that we can go outside, take a walk with our dog and feel safe. These are extremely important issues for me. And I plan on working with all agencies that I can, the other council members, behavioral health, all the different agencies to make that work.
Thank you very much. Our second question, as a member of the City Council, you are elected to represent your district and also Oroville as a whole. How do you plan to reach out to your constituents to hear what they need and what they would like to see happen? We'll begin with Natalie this time.
How do I reach out to my constituents? Since I've moved here, I have been an active participant in our historic downtown, and I walk the district. And that's what I've been doing intensely since I've been running and just knocking on doors. And I've learned so much. It's just, I love hearing from people and hearing their concerns. And so to connect with the district residents, that's extremely important, as they don't have a voice. They're the most important part of the city, but yet they're the most politically powerless. And that's why we need district representatives that really connect with the residents and are able to take the power that the city has and bring it right down to a neighborhood level to help them. So I plan to just keep that communication going by involvement, like I've always been doing, and even being more involved with that. And another safety issue too is the traffic. We need another traffic study done. We have a very dangerous traffic situation where children cannot play outside. They cannot go to the skate park. They can't run downtown to Unicon to get an ice cream. So that is something that really goes with the community safety also.
All right, thank you. I wish that little sign showed up so I didn't have to cut you off. Shawn?
So I actually have a phone number that's dedicated exclusively to my campaign and will be dedicated to my constituents once I'm elected. I won't give the number out here because I don't know if that's appropriate or not, but I'm willing to share that number with anybody. That is going to be, I think, my best way that I could get text or phone calls in real time.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
We lost him.
Shawn froze.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what we can do. Come back to us, Shawn.
And
There he is.
and so I plan on, but as far as to the question about communicating, that's the way I plan on doing it. And I'm debating whether or not I'll have a Facebook page and how that will be formatted as well.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Tracy?
Thank you. Yes, so I am currently and continue through the campaign process just to knock on doors, see people face to face, find out what their hopes are, what their concerns are. I too have a cell phone that I've dedicated to my campaign, and then moving forward as a city council member, I will have that dedicated solely to my constituents. I also am considering whether or not to keep my Facebook page, but I really think just face-to-face communication, face-to-face knocking on doors, having them know that I'm available for all of their concerns, no matter what it is something that I really want to get out there, that I'm an easy person to talk to. I have concerns, the same concerns that they have, and I would love to hear them. Let's come up with some ideas, even if they have ideas that would benefit or be useful for the city as a whole.
Thank you very much. Yeah. All right. Okay. And Art?
Yes, thank you. My wife and I have lived in Thermalito for 54 years. We've been married 54 years. So we've lived here our entire married life. And being a police officer in the community, I have dealt not professionally and personally with a lot of my constituents that are still living here, and I have good contact with them. It's not always negative. Everybody thinks that when a policeman knocks on your door, it's always negative, and that's not true. And it never was in my case. And so I've always stayed in contact with the people of this Thermalito and my district, even though I represent everybody in the community. But with this districting, it is now, I am pretty well known in this community because I've lived here most of my adult life. So that's the reason that I am able to talk to the people.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Our next question. Oroville brought in a branding firm to help you with tourism and business development. And apparently there is an effort here to really enhance those qualities of your community that attract business and tourism. What do you see as the most important element of this opportunity that you're developing now with that branding company? And we'll begin with Tracy.
Thank you. Yes, I'm excited about that. I believe that a marketing plan for Oroville, a branding plan for Oroville, especially for our natural resources. I think that our city has some great natural resources that we can utilize to market and bring people in recreation wise. Let's bring in some tourism. Let's bring in people that want to capture the beauty of Oroville. We have lakes, we have mountains, we have hiking trails. I believe that tourism is a great revenue builder, and I believe that branding it as such and using it as a marketing to capture the city as a whole is something that is a wonderful idea. And I'm totally for it.
Thank you. Thank you. Art?
Yes, branding is a good thing for Oroville. We've gone through several ideas, different slogans, and that what people have to understand is that Lake Oroville, yes, they call it Lake Oroville, but it's actually a reservoir. It is designed to go up and down. That's exactly what it was built for, and that's exactly what it does. So in the wintertime, it fills up and people can recreate, and they can recreate a lot through the summer until the water demands are required, and then it goes down. And that's exactly what it's meant to do. It does affect our tourism. It does when the lake goes very low, but we need to focus, and hopefully this branding will bring in businesses. We claim we call it Lake Oroville, and we want recreation, but you can't buy a boat in this town. There is no place to buy a jet ski in this town. So we need to work on those type of businesses if we're going to brand this as a recreational city.
Thank you. Shawn?
You know, that movie, Field of Dreams, had that famous line in it, if you build it, they will come. And I think this branding is an excellent opportunity for these folks to capture what they claimed they were going to do, which is capture the essence of who we are. And I agree with what our Hatley was just saying. The lake is a draw, but there's so much more. The river, you know, the afterbay, the forebay, the fact that we're just a couple hours away from the ocean. If we're talking about tourism, but we're also talking about how we build our community as well. So how do we attract people to come here? How do we attract people to stay here? How do we attract people to spend money here? How do we attract people to fall in love like we've fallen in love? And I'm excited for this. I'm looking forward to what they reveal. And I'm hoping it's really positive. I'm hoping it's really encouraging stuff.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Natalie?
Yes, branding, of course, is wonderful. And we've got to fulfill the promise we make on the brand when the people actually show up to visit town. Mm-hmm. And that takes us back to safety again. They have to be safe. There's also I'm a big proponent of enforcing the laws and the codes and the ordinances that are on the books right now. We have a lot of homes that are abandoned and empty and dangerous, and they really need to be, there's a few of them downtown, demolished. I'd like to see things cleaned up also in conjunction with the branding, and I want to see us support our local downtown businesses. They have a vision that is fantastic for bringing people to downtown. Part of that is the Gateway Project, which is right, the gateway down to the heart of our city. And I want to see an appropriate, powerful development there that is in keeping with the general plan. So in everything that we do, it's great. Yes, let's sell it. Let's get everything out there, but we've got to support that with infrastructure in the city that keeps it clean and safe and thriving and beautiful and makes people want to come back again and again and spend money.
Thank you. All right. We're moving on to question number 4. The population density of Oroville is quite a bit higher than the state average. This creates a need to increase Oroville's housing supply at all income levels. How can the City Council help the city build a balance of housing options? And we'll begin with Shawn.
Well, I think that the city is moving in some positive direction already regarding that. And I think that we could see, I think the city council as a whole has made some good decisions. We see a lot of development going on with lower income development, a lot of apartments, which is definitely a need. There's no doubt about it. But I would like to see more development of medium to high income houses to strike a healthy balance between the two. it's fantastic to serve the needs of the needy or the less than, or people that perhaps are younger and just starting out. But it's also very important to attract growth that is positive, that will help our home prices go up and improve the quality of life. It's this same thing that we've been talking about all along: infrastructure, safety, raise the value of property, do developments that make sense, bring people in from out of town that otherwise might not have moved here. And that's what I would like to see. So proper, good use of the land that we have.
Thank you. Natalie?
Yes, appropriate, well-planned development that is in keeping with our general plan. And yes, a variety of housing. And as I understand it, there was a shortage of low-income housing, and now we have actually more than we've ever had and more than we are required to have. So I think we've done really well in that aspect, and it's time to bring in market-priced homes. And back again, it's time to improve the downtown and clean things up and enforce our codes and our ordinances and have minimum property standards downtown, so you can just continue to create a thriving, family-friendly town that is sustainable economically and that you can draw tourists to. We have the hospital coming in. I was talking to some traveling nurses who were saying, boy, we can't find any short-term nice housing here. So there is definitely a need, which is exciting because I think more building is going on. I'm on the planning commission and I just love all the projects that come before us. And I would say they're really all really well done. And I'm excited to see them.
Thank you. Okay, Art?
Yes, we are. We have affordable housing. There's more in the building process right now. And so when those are completed, we will be at the mandate that the state gave us for affordable housing. We do need market housing. I spoke with the Director of Public Works, and there are projects in the works right now. One housing development that's back on the books that is moving forward is a 2,500 home here in Thermalito. Also another development that's going on planning right now in Thermalito for another 172 homes, all market value. These are not the affordable housing, these are market value homes. So there is growth and it's right on our doorstep, and I'm excited to see it come to fruition.
Thank you. Tracy?
Yes, hi, thank you. I'm in agreement with everyone so far. I do believe that we've made great strides as far as the affordable housing for family housing that has been going up over the last year or so. I think that the market housing is on everybody's mind. I believe that we're pretty unified in that we do need to bring market housing, not just for the people that live here, but also for employees of our hospital and that are being taxied in now. They're not able to commerce and live and spend money in the community. So I believe that market housing for them, as well as future potential business owners. So definitely market housing is something that needs to be on the table. As Art had said, there are projects in the works in Thermalito, so I'm excited about that. And I think we just need to keep moving forward. I think there's some great things going on with City Council right now, and we just need to keep moving in a forward momentum.
Thank you. Thank you. Our next question. What areas of city government services need prioritizing for funding increases over the short term, and where would those funds come from? Oh, I'm sorry. I need to tell you who starts. Art.
Okay. Thank you. Yes. Well, right now, what we need to do is look, and we have 100 employees in the city. We're budgeted for 132. We need to, our police department, like I said, is very low right now because we're 13 or 14 positions down. We need to make sure that we get those positions up. They're in the budget. It's already budgeted in our plan. So that and our building department, we need to look at that. to make sure that they have all the tools and the necessary funding to move forward, to bring in these projects, to get things moving and work to make Oroville a better place.
Thank you. Tracy.
Thank you. I'm in agreement. I believe that a top priority is funding our public safety officers. I believe that in and of itself is probably a top priority. We need to bring in people to help our community feel safe, but not only feel safe, keep them safe. So I would say that would be a number one priority on that. I also believe that we need the DWR to release the funding. We need to agree on a contract so that we can have more funding coming in through DWR. That money is just sitting there and it needs to be allocated. So, I think those are probably the two top priorities, I think.
Thank you. Yeah, as I said, it's where is the funding needing increasing and what the source is. So DWR is what you're talking about.
Yes.
Natalie?
Yes, in order to enforce the laws and codes and ordinances that are on the book, we need more boots on the ground, policemen and code enforcement officers. We need not just policemen available when there's an emergency, but we need the policemen to actually do surveillance where they can go in front of these dangerous drug houses, they can go along the river, they can go by our parks, and they can be a deterrent to crime that is happening. So we need that funding right away, and code enforcement. And I think the Measure U funds, I understand they're supposed to be for public safety and there is money in that account. And I think that's where I would look to get that for law enforcement and code enforcement. And also with the homeless issue, we need to be really careful that we enforce our ordinances and that we do exactly what is required by the law and no more, and that we manage the homeless industries that we do need and that are very important to help these homeless people either move on or move out or get help. So I think the city has to be very involved in that. We can't just let that happen at their discretion. We have to be in charge of how that works out.
All right. Thank you, Natalie. Shawn?
Yes, thank you. So I'm in agreement with pretty much everything everybody said, that absolutely police, safety, code enforcement, Measure U money. From what I understand, there is money sitting aside already. I know that after I spoke with the police chief, that he informed me that they are actively pursuing hiring those qualified officers to do exactly that, to be on patrol, to do traffic patrols, that, instead of responding to emergency calls, to be proactive in the approach toward tackling these things head on. I also agree with the comment a few seconds ago about DWR with the relicensing of the dam and what that looks like, because that'll be a whole bunch of money that'll come into our city that can be utilized and leveraged for all kinds of great stuff. From what I understand also, I was told that there's $3 million set aside for infrastructure already, and that the city just hired a couple of engineers to look at roadways, and do these studies to see what we need to do with that. So Measure U, some DWR money, and I think we could do quite a bit.
Thank you. Next question. What actions should be taken to get Oroville on a firmer financial footing, say in the next year or year and a half? And we'll start with Natalie.
We get most of our money from our retail sales. So I would say support our businesses and our downtown district and bring in tourism like the general plan and like the general plan says. And the general plan also says that you should be particular and search out the type of businesses that you want to come in to make a wonderful experience when people come downtown. There's a lot of dollars out there that we could have if we get the Gateway project going. And if the Gateway project can draw people to downtown to experience the charm of that old, unique city and spend money there. So I think we just need to bring in dollars and clean up our river. We need our river to be clean so that we can also draw tourists to some recreational activities to enjoy the river. Because the river is more downtown, whereas we have said before, the lake, people who will come to the lake, they don't really come into Oroville to spend money. And that's what we need. We need people to come down and enjoy our unique district and spend dollars, and then that will help build the city also, the city coffers.
Thank you. Shawn?
Forgive me. Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay, what action should be taken to get Oroville on a firmer financial footing in the next year to year and a half?
Yeah, thank you very much. That's what I thought it was. I was just confirming.
No problem.
Thank you. I think that there has been some amazing forward progress within our city. I think the current council's done a very good job. I think the mayor's done a good job of taking us from a position where we were facing extreme financial hardships in the city, and now we are experiencing a surplus of money that is available to do what we need to do. And for instance, I actually made a misstatement in my last go around. I said $3 million allocated. It was $3 million per year for infrastructure for the roads, and so that's $3 million per year. And if we stay the course, if we continue to apply the same philosophies and the same ideology of how we're going, if we continue to do that, then I think the city will continue to thrive. We'll see the coffers absolutely grow. I agree with what Natalie was saying just a minute ago. We need growth. We need commerce. We need encouragement of all those things. And I think our city is going to do fantastic.
Thank you. Tracy?
Thank you.
Thank you. I believe that it's commerce. I believe that in the next year, we really need to be focused on marketing our city to garner new businesses that are willing to invest in this community. I think that, Measure U has done great things for our city. And I agree, the current council has worked very hard to get things level and get us in a forward moving momentum. So I just believe that commerce, bringing in new businesses is the way to go.
Thank you, Tracy. Art?
Yes. What we need, in my opinion, what we need to do, we need to provide our professional staff, encourage them with the tools that they have, and if they need more training or whatever, give that to them so they can go out and seek businesses to bring into the city that will bring in dollars to the city. The Measure U money was honestly a lifesaver. I went through that where every city except one in the complete state of California had financial problems. Everybody was trying to figure out a way to save their city. And Measure U was a godsend. It brought in the money that we needed, thanks to the citizens. We also had money from COVID. We got money from the disasters that happened, the fires and the spillway incident. So that's where the excess money came from, a lot of it that we now can put forward and move forward and keep the city on a safe track.
Thank you. What do you think your district and the council should do to provide shelter and services to the unhoused population in Oroville? We'll start with Tracy.
Thank you. Our district. So I believe that as far as housing them, I believe that we need to first deal with the mental health aspects of it. So housing, I really don't have an answer for that right now. I would like to work with the city council to come up with ideas on that. We can talk about the pallet shelters. We can talk about different avenues for housing them. I don't see specifically housing them as something that's going to take care of the problem. I think that we need to work on what's causing them to be homeless in order for us to create an environment for them to not be any longer, if that makes sense. And I think a lot of it has to do with the mental health aspects of it. I know there's some bills that were recently passed that kind of forces some of the more, thank you.
Yes, I think I knew where you're going with
Yes.
that. Thank you, Tracy. Art?
Yes, the city, the social services are provided through the county, not the city. Now, our staff, our police, our MLEs, our municipal law enforcement officers, our code enforcement, and any of our staff, they're trained when they deal with the homeless population in order to push them towards those services that are provided by the county and the state. And with that, in Thermalito, we do have some available affordable housing, but that really doesn't apply to some of these people because they aren't in the mental state or the financial state to even get into those affordable housing units. So we need to gear them towards the social services that can get them back on the right track so that they can become less dependent on just trying to survive day to day through those services.
Thank you. Shawn?
Thank you. Well, there are many projects in the works. Project Esperanza was just spoken about. That is one option that will be a short-term option for housing. I know that the city just hired a housing navigator, and he will be working with code enforcement to facilitate where they could take them. I agree that we need all these people to be working together, all agencies and entities, code enforcement, the housing navigator, the Oroville Rescue Mission, different programs that offer housing, mental health, behavioral health, maybe even parole and probation. All of these things need to work together to form a wheel of support that we can utilize and leverage to place a person where they need to be placed and assess their specific needs and what they might need.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Natalie?
The other day I was walking on Montgomery and I came upon a very large gentleman and his wife and their dog that were sitting on the curb. They were obviously without a home at that moment, had all of their belongings with them. So I stopped to be able to help them. And he said, oh, if you could just call my daughter, call here, call there. We went through all the numbers to try to call who could help them. They actually have an apartment that isn't ready yet, a low-income apartment on Mitchell that they thought they could come to. I don't know. They were not dangerous. They were in need of help. So a municipal law enforcement officer happened to be driving by. I was able to wave him over and he kind of talked with them, but he told me right off the bat, he can't drive them to where they need help. And I'm telling you, this man could not walk. He was in no shape to be able to do that. So right off the bat, I thought, well, this is a bit of a disconnect. There's a place that he can go, but there's no way for us to get him there. One thing I think is extremely important, we need to get help for these people, but we can't go into the homeless business, the homeless industry business as a city. We have to obey the letter of the law and we have to manage these resources and the professionals in this field. And it has to come under the jurisdiction of the city so the residents are considered in this whole equation.
Well, you've all done very well, and I'm going to give you each a minute to make a closing statement. Really appreciate what you've been sharing. Okay, and we're going to start with Shawn.
Thank you very much. So I'm a working man. I've been a working man my entire life. I'm a husband and a father, and I've worked hard at that. I've worked hard to build a successful business, and I'm going to bring that same working man attitude and mentality to the city council. I'm a solutions guy. I'm an overcomer. I'm going to bring pragmatic analysis and common sense thinking to the table when I come. I'm going to bring unity to the table. I want to be a unifying factor, and I want to work with all the other council members, the mayor, and everybody involved to come up with these solutions that are going to be beneficial for the community, beneficial for the future, beneficial for the person that's the least of these to the person that's the greatest of these in our community, and all people in between. That's who I'm going to be, a voice for them.
Thank you very much. Natalie?
I think by nature, city government is in so many ways the most intrusive in a resident's life. They tell you when you can improve your, what you have to pay to put a new door in, you have to figure out what size fence you can put there. They do all the planning all around you. So they're extremely important. The decisions that the city council makes are extremely important to the residents who live there. And the residents often don't have a voice. So with redistricting, you only get to vote for your own district, one city council member and mayor. So it feels like you've lost 6 votes there. So it's extremely important that whoever is representing you is going to be only loyal to your district and your neighborhood. I can just promise that I am not in alliance with any business interests, any political interests. I'm not aligned with anyone. I only am committed to representing the residents who live in this district and working very hard with hopefully a city council that is full of 7 independent individuals who all bring a different perspective to the table, because that's how we can get to solutions.
All right, slightly over a minute, but well said. Okay, Tracy?
Thank you. I too want to work hard for the constituents in my district. I think there's a lot of people that do feel a disconnect between city government and their ability to have any voice in the concerns and the changes that are going on within their particular district. And so I would like the opportunity to be that voice. I believe that there's some great changes that are going on in the city. We're in a forward momentum of great things that are happening. And I believe that that I would be a great part of it. I believe that working with the city council members, working together, we may not all agree on everything, but that's great because we are all different. So I believe that as long as we are men and women of character and that we care about the city, that working together for the betterment of the city is something that should be done. And I believe that's on everybody's mind. So I look forward to the opportunity to be able to do that.
Thank you, Tracy. Last but not least, Art.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having us tonight and holding this forum. There's a lot of things that go into being a council person, and people want to know that they can trust you, that they can contact you, that you're approachable, that you have integrity, you have no actually dog in the fight, for a lack of a better term. You're not in it for personal gain. You cannot be in this business for personal gain. City government is big business, but it's different than private sector. Public sector is a whole different world, and you have to know. So you have to know how to commit and be a team player, because one person on the council cannot do anything. It's collective. It's the collective body where you obtain your authority and your way to make the city move forward. And that's what I've proven through all my votes. You can check my record. And I want to continue on to assist the city moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you all. I want to thank you for running for office. As you mentioned, the public sector. I mean, it's turning out to be a more exciting place than it's ever been, but also more challenging. So I really appreciate the civility and the thoughtfulness of your answers. So we did live stream this. So it's out on YouTube, and it's also on Zoom, and it will be at the LWV website as well. And I'm hoping you encourage your constituents if they weren't able to be with us tonight, to listen to this, because we want the voters to go to the ballot with their eyes open and knowing, what the values are, what the challenges are, and what each of you is bringing to this incredible task that you have in bettering your city. So on behalf of the League of Women Voters. I'm going to do the mayor. I'm ending one, but the mayors are not to go away. We have a special, we have a separate thing for you. So that's okay. We have a little anxiety over here, but we do appreciate you, and everybody just get those votes out.
And sign up.
Thank you so much.
And sign up
Thank
for
you.
Voters Edge. That's right. If you haven't done that, that's a great free place for you to lay out your platform and your character. So, and it also is something that I think again encourages this, exactly what you've been talking about, and that's this consensus building that we need to get the work done. Okay, so there'll be a brief pause, and then we'll talk to the two mayoral candidates.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Turn off, Mike, turn off. Do you want to mute yourself real quick, Carol?
What?
Do you want to mute yourself real quick?
Okay, well, it's interesting that you're one of the few communities that I know of where the mayor is elected separately from the city council. And that adds an interesting component both to you, to what we just experienced, which is the city council candidates, and also to the role that you play in the city of Oroville. So we're going to start with an opening statement. David, you have been arbitrarily chosen as the first person to speak. So.
Well, thank you, Carol. It's great to be here, and I thank the league and thank all the participants and all your background staff for putting this together. We much appreciate it. My name's David Pittman. I'm running for the position of mayor of the city of Oroville because I believe it's time for a positive change. My goal is to protect your tax dollar with efficient, effective government policies and procedures. I'm an Oroville native, lifelong resident, and I'm a business owner, a member of the city council currently, and also a retired fire chief. I will, with others, strive to apply innovation, invention, and modernization to our local government to protect the clear message of the Oroville voters who approved Measure U funding. I value public participation, open communication, public safety, economic development, and encouragement of new business opportunities. Again, my background is in public safety, and I'll endeavor to provide a better quality of life for all the residents, utilizing the highest level of citizen protection, safety, and comfort.
Thank you. Okay. Chuck Reynolds, who's on a phone? Chuck, are you on a phone?
You know, Claire, I actually changed from the phone to the computer. My teenage daughter came home and she helped me.
Okay, wonderful. And I'm not Claire, I'm Carol, but
I thought you were.
We're a team over here.
Why does it say Claire on my email?
It does, because she's been communicating with you.
Oh, bless your heart.
All right, so opening statement.
Okay, well, born and raised in Oroville, multi-generations. My family's been here since 1870. We've served in many capacities throughout the generations here. My father was very instrumental in getting LAFCO and special districts started, served on water districts for 50 years. And I'm a contractor and a family man. I didn't have a lot of interest in the local government. I was busy building a business, and then I was asked to get involved. And at first I said no, and then they said, well, are you aware of what's going on in your local government? And I said, no, I have to admit, I don't really pay that much attention. And when I went to a city council meeting, my mind was changed. And so I had decided to run, and I've been moving forward ever since. So I have a wonderful wife that I've known since we were 14 years old. I have 3 beautiful children. My youngest is in college, graduated high school early. The 2 have served in the military and work at hospitals.
Okay. Thank you. I should have given you 2 minutes to open. I didn't mean to squeeze you into a minute, but I'm going to give you a 2-minute closing to make
Well,
up.
Carol, I'm the reason they put the time limit on the microphone at Rotary.
Yeah, I'd probably be like that myself. All right. So the first question: what do you see as the primary role of the mayor in Oroville, especially since you are elected separately from the rest of the city council? And we'll begin with you, Chuck.
Okay, well, the primary role is to lead the council in setting policy. And it's an amazing experience. If you haven't been in that seat, you don't really know, because I hear people say that the mayor has no power on his own, yet when something goes awry or they perceive it to be awry, the mayor gets all the blame. So I'm wondering, is there power or not? But the setting the policy with the council is a very important role. It's a leadership position that leads the meetings, and I put everything into this position. I don't show up every 2 weeks and for a council meeting. I'm there to dedicate myself to it.
Thank you. David?
Yeah, the mayor is well-defined position in the city charter. It is a city council position, and the city council is a policy-making body. The direction the mayor takes is obviously the simple things of coordinating the meetings, setting the agenda, and making sure the council, if you want to look at it somewhat as a clerk of the council, to get consensus on issues. And the mayor also sometimes feels that there's a disconnect, and as he mentioned, that the public thinks the mayor actually has some horsepower. Anything the mayor can do or does is only done after the vote of the council approves it. And that's why the mayor's at the end of the signature for all the resolutions and all those kind of things. So it really is a consensus builder position for the council. And that's why the city charter put it in place as it is.
Thank you. Since you've gone to district voting, what changes do you see in overseeing the work of the city council for the benefit of the community? Okay, so we're going to begin with David.
The district voting is the biggest challenge right now is to educate the public, because we had to draw some lines based upon population, based upon a formula, and it's very confusing. Even to some of us trying to remember what districts A, F, C, D, and then have that oriented to our minds. And that's really the struggle we're going to have with the voters. One of the things I was very strong on is when we set out the first round of districts to be put in the cycle of elections, I didn't want to send a ballot out to the voters that had no positions for them to vote on, because the way the districts are, we have a cycle every 2 years. We have certain districts being voted upon, and then the next 2 years the other districts are voted upon. So we wanted to make it fair and open for the public to be able to understand and then have the opportunity to vote. Now, you might mention too that the mayor's position is citywide. Everybody gets a shot at voting for the mayor.
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry, Chuck?
Yes, my experience in the districting is it's been very divisive. It's really not designed for a small community like Oroville. It's more designed for, say, Los Angeles or San Francisco, because it was focused on minorities getting an equal opportunity to have a say on councils. And Oroville is very integrated. There's no concentrated areas where people were left out. So it doesn't really fit this community. So it's been very divisive. You'll hear people say that they're only going to worry about their district. And actually being on the council, they need to represent the whole city.
Interesting. Yes, well, Chico's dealing with it too. Question 3, what do you consider the city's top challenge in the next term, and how do you plan to address it? Okay, we'll start with Chuck.
Well, I really think that the top challenge is a unstable council, because what we have are department head. We try and attract people to come to work in Oroville, and people that have a professionalism or a stability about them, they look at the council and see how stable it is. And if it's not stable, then they're not going to put their career on the line. And we've been running into that. So I'm looking forward to stabilizing the council.
Thank you. David?
I think the biggest challenge for the city of Oroville is to create the climate and environment for the investor to invest in our community and be knocking on our doors. That's what we really want to see. And one of the policies that I like to say is when an investor walks into the front door of City Hall and that investor is willing to spend money here, I want the staff to become their advocate, not their adversary. And that's what really opens the door to the developer and the investor to come to the community. We have to make sure our infrastructure is capable of handling the new growth. Oroville does have a lot of aspects in terms of real estate, in terms of water and capacities. We just have to prepare for that, because I think in the next few years, we will be a community of 50,000 people very easily.
Wow. All right, thank you. The next question. Affordable housing is an ongoing issue throughout the state. How have you, or what will you do to alleviate this shortage, if there is one, in Oroville? And we'll begin with David.
When I first got on the council 2 terms ago, one of the big topics was affordable housing. Consequently, I got myself appointed to the Housing Authority of Butte County, which is the affordable housing partner to so many. When I got on that board, we had 3,500 units throughout Butte County. Right today, we have 2,500 more units in construction or soon to be completed throughout the county. So we've almost doubled our partnership with affordable housing. So I serve on that board as a commissioner. And if you want to see the results, look at the Housing Authority of Butte County and how many projects are moving forward with that, which is a great thing and it's a great asset. But I also agree that it's time to look into market rate housing and get that particular aspect of our community added to. And we have the capacity. Like I say, we have the real estate, we have the land. We just need to get it done.
All right, thank you. Chuck?
Okay, Oroville is the only city in the state that has met its RENA numbers for affordable housing. So we need to move on to market rate. Developers don't walk into City Hall and say they want to build here. They're met on the golf course and on job sites, and they are attracted by relationships. And they come with an interest because they've come with developed relationships. So that is why developers come to your community. We're having a hard time with the big developers on market rate housing because they don't think the profit margin's there. But we have to prove to them that the profit margin is there. And we have to build the infrastructure. In a small community, a lot of jobs are given in government positions because somebody knows somebody or they're related. We have to take the most qualified people. So when the developers show up to meet with us, they are handled properly.
All right, thank you. Homelessness is another ongoing issue. We talked about it in the previous forum. What are you doing or will you do to provide housing and services to this population? And we'll begin with Chuck.
Well, we've been moving forward in a lot of areas. A lot of people don't realize that you're not just under your local laws, you're under state laws. And you can't be, these are human beings. You can't just load them up and haul them away. You have to make sure that they are cared for. And we are navigating through that. So we have created a position called a housing navigator. And this person will be working directly with code enforcement and the unhoused to see what the issue is, why they are unhoused. Believe it or not, I go out, I do ride-alongs all the time with the police and interview a lot of people. And a lot of them have created a subculture where they're comfortable in that environment. And until they get to a point where they want housing, you're not going to be able to give them housing. That's not what they want. So, but there is a lot who do want housing, and that's what our housing navigator will do, along with code enforcement. Community services with the county, paired with the county, mental health, all of these things. There's many reasons. There's not one big box of why these people are not housed.
Thank you. David?
You know, in my 35 years in the fire service, I worked the streets of this community, and I understand that particular population. Plus, I've served on the Homeless Coalition for 3 years, so I have that in my background to understand the problem. I also see that the idea that happened in Chico as a huge mistake. The city can get involved in having a partnership with a non-government entity to provide those services, but the city should never get into a situation where we're providing the expense of housing anyone, because we don't do that very well at all. So partnerships is what we have to develop with whatever agencies, non-government operations I'll mention, is the key to having that particular population available. Those places also have to be attractive for that person to go there. Part of the problem is 10% of them really are needy. The other 80% just choose to be on the street because they don't want to follow the rules.
Interesting. Okay, a final question here. If elected, what is your top priority for the city in the next year? David?
My top priority, if elected, would be to bring our police and fire up to speed. And I want to have every person in this community feel safe to walk out their door, walk the sidewalk, and not have one iota of fear. In order to get that, we've got a lot of work to do. We have to make everything attractive to get our police force up to the full staff. We also have to look at other alternatives. We might have to use private security for our parks. We've got to get everything to the point where every one of us in this community can feel safe to open the door, go down to the businesses, become customers to all our businesses, and the business owners should be safe and secure when they open their business in the morning instead of having to clear the front door of problems. That's my big goal, is let's make this the safest community in California.
Thank you. David? Chuck, I mean.
Well, thank you. Actually, the fire service is on a strong foundation now. It has been enhanced to a level that has never been experienced in this community. And the police department, this was on a national level where defund the police. And I remember when the defund the police came out and they said, what are you going to do in Oroville about defunding the police? I said, we're going to go shopping because we're going to attract police officers to come here. But to clean up agencies where there's been decades of bad habits or non-growth has been very challenging. And we've had some natural disasters and COVID and all of these things that we dealt with. Navigating the city through 2 years of COVID was challenging, but we made it work. We kept our city open. And but finding police officers has proven to be a difficult task because most of the people are retiring out. They're getting out of that profession. But we have a young group that's coming in, but they're lacking training. We have to provide them with training. So very, very important. Those are the things. And filling the positions with qualified people at the city is very important to me.
Thank you.
I'm a production guy. I want to see things moving in a positive manner.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to, as I promised, I didn't give you 2 minutes at the beginning, but I am going to give you 2 minutes for a closing statement. And we'll begin with you, Chuck.
Oh, wonderful. You know, I love this community. I've grown up. I was born in 1964 here. In 1977, I was Paper Boy of the Year. I was the youngest paper boy ever on the Oroville Mercury. In my 7th grade yearbook, 7th and 8th grade, it said they projected my future, and it said I would own the Oroville Mercury Register and be the mayor of Oroville. Very, very funny. But I'll tell you, I love everything about this community. I love going in the stores and knowing all the people and going down the street and having people wave. It's very important. And what I'm looking forward to is, again, we put together a team 4 years ago that has moved this city farther and faster than it has ever known. And there are a lot of people that are very positive about what has been going on, and we're very happy about that. But positive outlook is so important. It's hard to have roadblocks in the way. You have to have a positive, open mind and have a vision. It's very hard to have a vision if there's no life experience. I've been in survival mode many times being a business owner and sweating payrolls and budgets and everything else. That's why my survival instincts kick in. But if you're in a safe zone for your whole career, it's hard to have those survival instincts in a.
Are you going to the game on Sunday?
Oh,
Hello.
I think, hang on, Tracy, I think you're still on.
No, it's Sunday this week. The next 2 games are Sunday.
Oh, dear. Uh-oh.
The next 2 games are?
Okay, Tracy's talking. Tracy. Sorry, guys.
We can use them as a host.
Oh, we can mute you. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that, Chuck.
So the main thing for me is to do a good job. I want people to come behind me, and they don't even have to know my name. Just know that, wow, these people were thinking, they did a good job. That's all I want. And I don't need credit or anything else. But again, people working against you is very hard. The team is important. The team is very, very crucial to this city moving forward. You can't be at odds and you can't be unstable.
Thank you very much. David, 2
Yeah.
minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, Carol. It's been a pleasure and I enjoy our discussions here. I'm going to make a statement that I want a city of security, prosperity, and high quality of life. My goal is Oroville with a thriving economy, a business prosperity, job opportunities, housing, safe roads, clean air, theaters, museums, parks, recreation, and family enjoyment for all. My vision for Oroville is to be a place that you, your family, your grandchildren, and friends will be proud to call home. And to get there, that's what this elected position has to do. I was asked, why are you running? Because I served with the city in the fire department for 35 years. Well, my answer to that was, well, the city invested in me as an employee and taught me many, many things in my 35 years. So if the city wants a return on that investment, so be it. I've certainly been involved in the community. My family's been involved way back into the 1900s, and my father was in politics before he did the councilman, supervisor, state senator, and those kind of things. So I understand how we get there. The difficulty in any community is gaining consensus. I mean, when Oroville first was voted in and incorporated in 1906, it took 3 elections to get there. It didn't happen in 1 election, it took 3. So I think I have the wherewithal to carry on whatever the topic is so we get to consensus or get to solution. And right now, one of the big things in this community is we've got to get our roads fixed. I drove down the road the other day and I was bouncing around so bad, it was terrible. Now we have the money to do it. We need the time and effort to get it done. And those are just one of the topics on the list of tasks that need to be done. And that's what the policymakers do for your community is get it done. I also always refer to everyone as a constituent. And that's why people call and contact me, because I never say someone's name in an open meeting. I just refer to them as constituents because they know they can call me and I'll voice their concerns. And thanks again to the league for this meeting. It was wonderful.
Well, and thank you. And I appreciated that you were with us for the city council as well, because this is the team. And you're all going to be working together one way or another. And with apologies for some of our technical issues, but the league is very, very supportive of its public servants, and we hope the election goes smoothly and that you continue to build on all the hard work that you're doing in Oroville. So thank you, and tell everybody to get out there and vote.
Carol, thank you very much.
Go to Voters Edge
Tell
if you
Claire,
can.
thank you too.
Thank you, Carol.
Okay.
You did a wonderful job.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I'm gonna end the stream now.
Live. Okay. Here we
Yeah,
go.
how do you get off now, right?
Yeah, I need the 17.
I know, I'm